Well, you've got a nice angle with what you're doing, Alison, as well, because you're championing independent pubs rather than joining a chain and saying that this is something that a chain could do. You're going to independent pubs and introducing a scheme effectively that the bigger chains might have been able to introduce and roll out. So I know that Stonegate have got a new app where you can get discounts and earn points and all these bits and pieces. Nice and easy for them because they've got all of these great big budgets and low overhead, well, not low overheads, but lower costs for buying food and drink because of the buying power that they've got that the independents don't necessarily have. But I think we were chatting the other day. You were saying that you had issues. One of the objections you had was from the Tide pubs that have got the higher costs because of obviously they're stuck with they can only go to one supplier for their beer and some of their other their drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you say to somebody that's tired?
Well, I think for somebody that is tight, the publicans, they know how to calculate their margins. They're great business owners, so if they are too tight, then obviously there's no point in making them losing business. However, we see some pubs that decide to join us, even though their margin are not amazing, because they're betting on the fact that it's a discount you give once. So our discount is a £10 off from £20 spent. So one might say, well, it's 50%, but actually most of our customers would stay put for another pint, another round. And the goal is really to be considered not as a loyalty program for the pub perspective, but more as an acquisition system. So once the customer discover the pub, if they like it, they will come back. And that's what I always say to any landlord that I meet. And the landlords we on board, they have very nice pubs. They all have something specific that I know people would love. So I'm pretty confident on the fact that people come back afterwards. And once they have discovered that place, especially for pubs that are not on the main road, like many groups or chains are showing, like they're directly on the main near the station where you have high footfall. And once you discover hidden street gems, then you want to go back there. But you need to make that little effort and encourage them to go a bit further and not stay on the main streets.
Sorry, we've got someone trying to come into the meeting. Yeah, I get that what you're trying to do is you're trying to push the people to come into the pub for the first time, so they can experience the pub, feel the pub, and then they can see whether they like the atmosphere, the food and the drink and stuff like that in there as well. But that's getting them in the door for the first time.
Then
exactly. You've got
step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and to meet new people as well was the other thing that we were talking about, because I think you were doing another scheme where you were doing it's not a pub crawl, but you were effectively you had different night at a different venue where you had a band playing and you followed the band around. What was that? Who
yeah, exactly.
What was that like?
We organized that with so it was our first indie pub tour. So we organized that with the group called Brave New Broken Hearts Club, and the goal was just to create some momentum and have people. So we had like one gig per week, and we did across different venues in London. And I think people really enjoyed the fact that they knew that when they would go there, they would meet other pub passionates and people who are really support independent pubs. Also, I come back to what you were saying, Rachel. You were talking about the shift in behavior, and I think it's very true. You were saying that people, for example, eat less meat. They also drink less. And what they're expecting now from pubs, it's not like in 10 or 20 years ago where you just go to the pub or to a place just to have a pint and a chat. People now, and especially younger generations, they really expect to have more an experience, like a unique experience, with that fear of missing out. And we see that more and more pubs, for example, organize more pub quiz, they organize more events to attract people. And I think that thing that we organized with the Indie Pub Tour was sort of into that same scope of trying to create momentum.